Welcome back and thank you for joining us. I'm Jessica Barbier, your host for the Cox OC Connection. Next, we'll be highlighting the work of one of our local nonprofit partners, Laura's House. Joining us today to share more about this wonderful organization is the CEO, Executive Director of Laura's House, Margaret Baston. Welcome and thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
As well as Dr. Jill Murray. She's a domestic violence expert and she's also on Laura's House Board of Directors. She's a member. Welcome, ladies, and thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
So, Margaret, if you can get us started and give us an overview of Laura's House and the work that you're doing in the community, that'd be fantastic.
Okay. Well, Laura's House is celebrating our 20th anniversary this year, and we provide domestic violence-related services to the whole family. But the focus of our programs are our emergency shelter, where women and children can stay for about 45 days. We have a counseling and resource center in Ladera Ranch, where people can come, about 1,000 people a year, for counseling and related therapy and resources. And then we also have a heart program, which is healthy emotions and attitudes in relationships for teens. And that's where we go out into the high schools and middle schools and talk to children about teen dating abuse. We also do a lot of community outreach, and we have a legal program.
Do the people in our community that need the services find out about your organization through outreach, or how is that?
There are many different ways they really would find us. A lot of the ways people find us today are through our own website or our 24-hour hotline. And besides those things, they can find out through law enforcement, social services, local school counselors. We try and be everywhere that maybe a client who needed our services would find us.
And so we were talking a little bit before the show started, and I was asking you, of the 20 years, how long you've been part of the organization.
Right, yeah.
So 16 years, and you started as a volunteer.
16 years, that's right. I started as a legal advocate.
And what have you seen as the growing trends, and how has the organization developed?
The organization's a very strong team of people. We've got licensed therapists as well as, case managers and people that work at Laura's House. And what we try and do is make sure that we find out what the needs of the clients are. We do needs assessments and then just make sure that we're meeting those needs in the community. We've seen almost 50,000 people in the 20 years that Laura's House has been in business. And one of the things that concerns me is that right now, today, in Orange County, we know there are estimated 250,000 women and children being directly affected by domestic violence today.
It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And as we can see, especially, I would say, right now more than ever, is that domestic violence is being spotlighted and highlighted in the media. Is this a growing trend that you're seeing? Is it increasing each year, or is it what are the trends and statistics around domestic violence?
We saw a 9% increase in our statistics last year. I suspect Jill probably could talk more to the recent incidents in the news. But certainly last week, for instance, our phones were ringing off the hooks with people asking for information about domestic violence, for sure.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Dr. Murray, I found it, while reading up on domestic violence, it was alarming to find out that one of the largest reasons of injury for women nationwide is domestic violence. What kind of impact does domestic violence have on women, the children, and the family system?
It's huge. It really is an epidemic problem. We know that 1 in 4 women and 1 in 9 men, we think, because men don't report as much as women do, but men are affected by domestic violence as well, and it has a huge impact on the family, has impact on business, it has an impact on the community, it has an impact on families. And I'm glad that you brought up that domestic violence is currently in the news, and I think that we do domestic violence a little bit of a disservice in thinking that domestic violence is just the shocking headlines we see now, with people getting beaten up and head-butted and dragged out of elevators. Really, the vast minority of domestic violence is physical. And so even though this is what's grabbing the headlines, what I'd like your viewers to know is that if they are ever in a relationship in which they are crying a lot, they're crying about their relationship, they're on the phone or in person with their partner, whether it be a man or a woman, crying and begging and pleading and apologizing for things probably that they've never done, that's an abusive relationship. You shouldn't be crying in your relationship, or if you're scared of your partner maybe not scared that they're going to knock you unconscious and drag you out of an elevator, but you're scared to have a different opinion, you're scared to make them angry, you're scared of anything about them, really. That's an abusive relationship. You shouldn't be afraid of your partner.
And with the work that you're doing, what are the commonly given reasons for staying in these types of relationships?
I think fear is number one. You know, we have heard so recently that women are in these relationships, especially with these athletes, because of money. It's because of fear. They're afraid of their anger, they're afraid of their temper, they're afraid of the threats that they've been given. So fear is number one. Number two is maybe they are financially dependent on their abuser, even if they're the primary breadwinner. The abuser takes the money out of their hands, they take their checks, you see, and then the victim is given an allowance. Children are a big part of why women stay or men stay in abusive relationships, because they're a family, and we'd like children to be in a family. It's important for children to be in a healthy family, but not an unhealthy family.
And in your expert opinion, what is the most important tool or resource that can be given to a woman or a man in that kind of situation to break that cycle?
I think being given, for instance, like Laura's House or a shelter, or knowing that there is a way out, knowing that you aren't destined to stay in a violent relationship, whether it's physically, sexually, emotionally, verbally violent. You don't have to stay in it. There's help for you. And I think it's very important for people to understand that love isn't a feeling, love is a behavior. And if you're not being treated with loving behavior all of the time, you need to ask yourself what you deserve.
And to change directions real quickly before we wrap, Margaret, we had mentioned it was the 20th anniversary,
Great.
so happy birthday to Laura's
Thank
House.
you.
And your gala will be a birthday party. Can you tell us a little bit real quickly about where the proceeds will go from this gala?
The proceeds from the gala all go towards supporting the programs and services that Laura's House provides to everybody that needs them, regardless of their ability to pay. So you never have to pay for our services. We have a hike and hoedown coming up on October 25th, that the proceeds from that will also do the same thing. So it just allows everybody to get the help that they need.
Great. And for more information, can you give us your website real quick?
Absolutely. It's www.laurashouse.org.
Well, ladies, thank you so much for being here today and sharing your expertise. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
And for all of you at home, thank you for joining us. To find out more about Cox 3, visit our website, cox3.com. And to find out about our community programs and initiatives, visit www.cox-cares.org. Thanks again for joining us.